Hey YouTube, how are we doing? Today I will be showing you how to adjust the seat height on a Triumph Bonneville Bobber. Now, according to official figures from Triumph, the seat height is adjustable between 690mm and 700mm high, which doesn't sound a lot, but it's on a sliding scale on the basis that the seat is on a rail which slopes downwards. So the further forward the seat is, the higher the seat height is, and the further back it is on the rails, the lower the seat. So if you've got your seat shoved right up to the tank, you're going to have a seat height of 700mm. If you've got it slid all the way back on the rails towards the rear mudguard, you have a seat height of 690mm, but you will have a longer reach to the handlebars, so that you can adjust it infinitely in between those 2 points to get the perfect riding position. So let's show you how we're doing it. Okay, so adjusting the seat height on your Bonneville Bobber is not actually that difficult. We've got a few bolts we need to take apart. You've got one bolt just on this side of the fuel tank, and again exactly the same on the other side of the tank. Now this does differ between different ages of bobbers, because on the later bobbers it's got a larger fuel tank which covers this little bolt just in here that we need to gain access to. So on newer bobbers you'll have to lift the tank slightly, on older bobbers you will not. I've got a newer bobber, so I'm going to undo these sockets now. It's 12mm sockets, so let's get those undone and get this tank lifted. Do be careful not to scratch your tank, because it'd be pretty easy to do that right now. Okay, and as you can see, these bolts have not got any type of washer on whatsoever, so keep those somewhere safe. I'll just go and do the other side as well. Okay, now we've loosened the tank, you can see that it will lift up slightly, and you've got the little brackets there that thread through into the frame. So we need to raise this up just a little bit to gain access to this little bolt which is under this plastic cap. So you can just pick that off with your finger. Make sure you don't lose it. Keep it somewhere safe. So in order to remove this bolt just inside here, this is a Torx T40 size bolt in there. So you need to lift the tank up quite far. It will only go as far at the front. There's a little rubber bung to stop you damaging the frame of the bike. So you just lift it up as much as you can and get a socket set in there. And undo it. Now do go careful with this one, because this does have a washer on it and you definitely don't want to lose the washer. So go careful on this one. Okay, you can now go ahead and lower the tank down and keep this safe. You can see it's got a little washer on there, so do not lose that. So the next bolts that we need to remove are these bolts just here. There's one on this side of the frame and another one just on the other side of the seat just here. This is a Torx T50 socket, little tool just there, T50, and these be quite tight, so give it max on these. Oh. I'm just going to loosen the other side before I take that out completely. Okay, you can see these bolts, both identical. Do keep those safe, put them aside. So now you can just go ahead and lift the seat up, and it's got this little bracket just on here. I'll move the camera so you can have a better look at this. Okay, so this is how the seat sits on the back of the bracket. You've got two 17mm socket bolts there. 17mm bolts. You will need a socket to get in there because access is quite restricted for a spanner. And these basically allow you to slide the seat forward and backwards on this rail. Now, the further these bolts are towards this end of the rail, the higher the seat will be. The further they are to the back, the lower it will be. So if you need a lower seat, ram it all the way back. So I'm going to undo those now and just adjust the seat so it's back to the back. To the back. Yeah. Okay, so now I've taken the seat off. I've put it on a flat surface to make it easier to work with. And I've also put it on a soft cloth as well, a t-shirt or whatever, just so it doesn't damage the fabric on the surface that you're placing it onto. I've got a 17mm socket just here, and I'm going to go ahead and loosen these. You don't need to take them off, just loosen them enough so you can slide it in the rails. These will be quite tight. Okay, so now I've loosened off these bolts just here. We should be able to see that you can just slide this backwards and forwards on this little slider just here. Okay, so as you can see, I placed a little mark in there just so I can go back to the original space, just with a bit of marker pen, just so I can put it back where I wanted it if I don't like the new position. But you can see it slides backwards and forwards on that. In that position, it will be lowest. In that position, it will be the highest, okay? So, as I said earlier, if you need it to be lower, put it all the way to the back, but you will have a longer reach to the handlebars, very slightly. Right, I'm going to go ahead and put this, tighten these back up and put it back onto the bike. So now the seat is slid fully back on this railing, I'm going to go ahead and tighten this up. There are some official figures from Triumph with regards to the torque settings for these bolts. You don't really need them, just make sure they're tight, but don't over tighten them. But you don't want the seat coming off, so do make sure you do them up properly. The torque settings for these nuts underneath the seat is 38 Newton meters. So I've got my trusty torque wrench just here. I've set it up for 38 Newton meters, and let's get ahead and tighten these puppies up. I'll do them one at a time, just to sort of ease them up. Okay, right, now good to go. So let's torque these up. There you go, good old click. And it's pretty tight on this. Let's do this one as well. Turn it around here, a bit easier. Won't whack my hand on the table then. Okay, good old click, so you know it's done, and this is now ready to fit back on the bike. Okay, I'll hopefully be able to do some side-by-side shots here so you can see the difference with the seat at the two extents of the height, so at 700mm and also at 690mm, so I'll do that in just a second. But first of all, I need to get the seat back on the bike. I'm going to do this in exactly the reverse order that we took it off, but this time I'm going to be paying attention to the torque settings for the bolts. Like I said, a lot of people won't have a suitable torque wrench, so just play it by ear and just make sure you don't over-tighten it because you will have a bad day. Okay, so now that we've gone ahead and adjusted the seat to a different setting, I'm going to put this back in exactly the reverse order that we've just done now. So first of all, we're going to start by doing these two bolts just in here. We're just going to nip them up because we want to get this bolt under the tank tightened up before we tighten these up to the correct torque specifications. So let's get that done now. So I'm just going to place this just hooks under here just a little bit. And if you have got good lighting, you'll be able to see where the holes line up because that will make it much easier to fit the seat back on. So I'm just going to put the bolt in enough just to locate the seat in the right position so I can do this other bolt just up. It does involve a little bit of wobbling around, but once it starts going, well easy. Right, that seems to have located in there, so let's just get around the other side and pop that side in and just nip it up. Right, I'm just going to nip these up, fast forward through this bit. Okay, so now we've got the two bolts over the bolt either side of the seat nipped up. I'm going to lift the tank again, put the washer and the bolt back in there and the little cap and tighten those up. There are no official torque settings that I can find for that bolt, so just do it up tight enough but not too tight that you strip the thread, and that'd be golden. It looks like Triumph put priority on the torque settings for these ones, which actually hold it onto the frame from two sides. So I'll do those to the correct torque settings, but let's get this done first. Let's grab that bolt. So we've got the little cap just there as well, won't forget to put that on. Now, seeing as we haven't tightened up the tank again, we can just lift this back up carefully and make sure you've got the washer on there. Plonk that in there and just nip it up. Goes in nice and easy. And as I say, there's no official torque setting that I could find for this bolt, so I'm just going to do it up tight but not super tight, and I'm sure that will be fine. Plonk that down for a second. And this is a 40 Torx, T40 Torx bit just on here. So let's do this up tight, but not super tight. That'll do nicely. And whilst we've got this, don't forget to pop your cap in there. Pop it on there nice and easy, all good. Right, the last thing we'll do is we'll pop the tank back in place, but we're gonna get these bolts tightened up to the correct torque setting. Okay, so we've got my trusty torque wrench just here. I've set it to 48 Newton meters, which is the desired torque for this bolt just here. And we're going to be using a Torx T50 star-shaped bit just there to do this up. I'll nip each side up a little bit and then do the full torque, so it's all nice and secure. Nip it up just so it's nearly there, but not quite. And the same on this side. Okay, we're going to go ahead now and fully torque this one. So get a good bit of leverage, and it will click when it's done. There, all good. 48 Newton meters. Same again this side. 48 Newton meters. Excellent. Okay, so by this time of the job, you should just have these two bolts just left here. These go in these little bolts just here that hold onto the frame, onto the tank onto the frame. Again, I couldn't find any official torque settings for these. So since this is not the main bolts holding the tank onto the frame, they're on a pivot bolt at the front just here. I'm just going to do these up again tight, but not too tight, and make sure it's all nice and secure. One thing I have noticed, when you're messing about with the tank, it will tend to shift in this direction a little bit. So when you're trying to line up these bolts, the tank holes with the frame holes, you might need to just pull the tank back a little bit, and it will come. And then you've got a nice easy access for these bolts. So let's get these bunged in here. 12mm sockets. Good lighting really helps when trying to do something like this. Right, before I tighten that fully, I'll go and get the other side in. Right, let's get these tightened up. Be careful at this stage not to scratch your frame, because that would be a shame. Okay, that's nice and tight. Let's go and do the other side up, and we are golden. Excellent. So I hope you have found that helpful. It really is an easy job to do. It's a little bit fiddly in places getting the bolts lined up with the holes whilst putting it all back together, but it's an easy job you can do on your own, and you really only need minimal tools. You will need a 12mm socket to do the side tanks. You will need a T40 Torx screw fixture to do this little one underneath the tank. For the seat bolts on the side is a Torx T50 size, and the seat nuts underneath you will need a 17mm socket to do those. Torque wrench is optional, you don't really need it, but it's always best if you've got these things to do it to the right settings. but your arm will know when is the right setting, really. You can't get too far off, but don't over tighten it. Anyway, I hope you have found this helpful. I have got another contraption for my seat which I'll be fitting onto my bobber very soon, but I've just run out of time for that today. So if you have found this useful, don't forget to hit subscribe. There's a little button in the bottom corner. It really helps my channel out. And if you've done this, have you noticed any difference in the seat height once you've changed it? So do let me know in the comments. And as ever, always give me a like if you can, because I really appreciate that. Until next time, I will
catch you later.